The reason that, again, most wives, usually wives, stay with abusive people is because they lack the courage, they lack the self-esteem to go out there and say, screw it, I'd rather eat dirt than to continue with this. It's familiarity breeds content. You say, well, I'm content. No, you're not. Content in the Bible means happiness. You're not content. You have just decided that this is as good as it's going to get. And you decided to stay there. But all the while, your heart is yearning for something better. We're content living here right now. But our spirit yearns to be with God in something better. This is what we're aspiring to as believers. Why do people who go to prison get out and end up back in prison? The great majority ends up back in prison. Why? Because in order for you to ditch any habit, ditch anything that you have to change where you live. You have to change who you associate with. You have to change. You cannot go back to the same hood, to the same poverty, to the same circumstances, and expect you're going to rise from there. You have to go and live in a certain place, but the problem is you got adapted to living in a prison. People are adapted to living in the prison of work, the prison of the neighborhood they live in, that they're never going to aspire to anything better. They got content and they adapted. Then they go back and they keep asking and hanging around the same people with the same negative attitudes, with the same negative mindset, and never associate with people that are where they want to be. Because once somebody finds out, it's very hard. See, it's very hard to overcome certain things in your life. I got a friend who's right now very successful in his own right. He's taken something that he never thought he could do and he did it. He's dyslexic. For years, everybody thought I was dyslexic. I'm not the sharpest knife in the shed. I'm not brilliant by any standard. I don't consider myself particularly smart. I don't look down on myself, but what I do have is work ethic, and I will outwork anybody at the same job. And I will outwork people. Why do I get to teach at the government? Why do I get to have a podcast? Why do people tell me, where did you get your degree in agronomy? Where did you get your degree in entomology? It's not because I'm smart. It's because I go and look at the material, I study it, and I work at it, and I test it, and I see if it's true, and then I teach it. I outwork everybody else that has the pedigree that I don't have. Why do I outsmart everybody on SEO in every agency? Because I'm willing to do the work. What people forget is that when I first started to do SEO, I only had YouTube and a blog, and I was writing one blog a day. This is before there was AI. This is before there were rewriting tools. This was before anything. I would take something that was already out there and I would rewrite it by hand, and I would make it better, and I would outrank that document by hand. This was a 2 to 4 hour venture every single day, and I did that for 300 times before we started getting the success. This is why my site ranked, because I took low-level keywords and I said only 30 people are searching for this a month. And I took every word that was within 10 and 30. And I said, I'm going to outwork everybody. I'm going to do it the hard way, because it's too hard to outrank the people that are doing the high-level keywords. I will find a niche of something that nobody's writing on, and I will write more about that than anybody else. And I wrote more about ornamental plants and lawns and organic pest control than anybody else. I outworked them. Now my site, 23DA, 1,900 referring domains, 14,000 backlinks later, everybody wants to do what I do, and they think they're going to do it in one day. That next level thinking that said, all I got to do if I want 3,000, 4,000 clicks, I need to write about a couple hundred articles at 30 clicks each because I will get that traffic. Now, anything I write gets published. I'm published on Wikipedia. I have an article that made it on Wikipedia. I have organizations like This Old House backlinking to me. My next level thinking was, I said it a couple of years ago, that I'm going to be America's pest control coach. I'm going to teach Americans what IPM is, and I'm not going to call it IPM. I'm going to rebrand it to something that's brandable. All because of one blog I read from a university that called it that. And I said, that's the next level. Next level thinking requires you ditch the herd. You stop hanging around with people. If you want to kick an addiction and everybody around you is smoking, don't go hang around with people that smoke. Don't go hang around the people that drink. Don't go hang out at bars. Change your behavior. Start hanging around people that are successful. Start hanging around people that have actually started a business and are a solo operator when you want to start a business. See, it's just the next level. 10Xing is not hard. If you want to build a $1.5 million business, stop selling your services so cheap. Start producing a route that produces 300,000, and then with 4 guys, you can do $1 million. You don't need 8. Next level thinking. Stop hanging around the people you're hanging with, telling them about your aspirations, because it makes them uncomfortable. It's kind of like when I sit around people who don't believe in God and I start talking about Jesus Christ. The only reason I'm testifying to them about Jesus Christ is because I want them to convert. Because it is my job, it is my ministry, according to the Bible, to be a minister of reconciliation. I'm not interested in going out to their lifestyle. I'm interested in them looking at Jesus Christ and saying, there's something better for my life. That is the only reason I can hang out. But I am strong enough in my faith and what I believe and what I know that I can hang out with a drug dealer and I don't have to do drugs, because I never have. I can have a drink, I can have a cigar, and I can be happy. It makes people uncomfortable. So you don't tell your next level dreams to people who aren't there. You tell your high level dreams to people who've been there, because they can say, okay, I get it. This guy wants to go there. Let me see how I can help him. There is enough people out there willing to help you, but you're going to the wrong people. Sometimes you can't tell your spouse. I remember when I was young and I was married and I was 19 going to college, I was the systems IT person for 2 counties, 3 counties actually, all of South Florida. And my spouse was having a terrible time with the way I was moving because she was not going to move in that direction. She started college, didn't finish. Didn't have a career, she had a job. I enjoyed my career, I enjoyed my job, I enjoyed spending my weekend studying because I was going to the next level. I could have easily said, let me not push it so hard so she can feel comfortable. No. Because I was drilled into my skull from as a little kid that my mom brought me here from this country as an immigrant so that I could be more successful than she was. So I can have a career, so I can study, so I can have a bright future. That came at a price. that simple. I've had spouses and girlfriends and that resented me for me being able to sit at 3:00 in the afternoon and said, I'm done working and I'm going to sit and I'm going to enjoy my afternoon and I'm going to go play golf and I'm going to go do this and I'm going to sit out here and smoke a cigar, and resent the fact that they had to punch a time clock from 9 to 5 because I was in sales. Well, you get to do whatever you want. I have to. Well, no, you don't. You chose that. You chose to be in a job. You chose to be in corporate America. You chose to be whatever it is you chose to be. Nobody imposed it on you. My next level thinking says I want freedom. I don't want to punch a time clock. I don't want to be on somebody's payroll. I want to be independent. I wanted this since I was 14 years old. I said it when I was 14 years old in friend's house, and adults laughed at me and said, you better go get a job, mister, and get a career, because being a business owner, that's stupid. See, if you really have a dream and you're committed to it and you have the courage to go do it, nobody can stop you. But you're lacking one of those two. That's what next level thinking, like right now we're thinking next level. How do we 10x our content? I've invested the last 3 months in sitting there, analyzing software, using AI, using programs, investing the time in learning them to help Eric, and then rethinking, like, is the results we're getting with this manually, is it better? When I was doing it and I was using Hootsuite, we were getting a crap load of traffic. And yes, it wasn't the high quality, but the content I was putting out was really good. And all people cared about is the content. They could care less about all this unique stuff and making sure there's no duplicates anywhere and everything is unique. I said, I was just putting it out there. We're going back to that because the juice isn't worth the squeeze. So you're going to be hearing a lot more from me.